I thought I'd just make a video for everybody else that might have an interest in knowing this information, and just my own personal opinion here. Very much my own personal opinion, because this has been my own personal experience and journey that I've had to walk in the last 6 to 8 months, which has not been an easy one at all. As I said beforehand in the previous video, this came as an absolute shock to me last year, especially as I had been very involved in health and Ayurveda and meditation for 30, 35 years previously, and was never expecting to have to deal with the big C. Which we're now finding out is just a huge money-making industry. There's been so many cures that have been put forward by various different people in terms of how to treat the big C. And then, of course, there are all the alternative methodologies which have been promoted. And so mine is just going to be a story about how that all happened. Obviously, I do take full responsibility for what came about, what afflicted me. It has to be karmic, first of all. So whether I was carrying my own wounds of wrong thinking or wrong speech or wrong action, or whether it is an ancestral karma that I'm working out, or even a collective karma that I'm working out, the fact of the matter that I think is very important is just to explain that it is, one can get over it, one can come out the other end alive and well, and full of life and energy again. And so this is the main thing. So how my experience all started was about the beginning of September last year. What happened was that I suddenly started having a sore throat. Now, I have to remind you that I'm not one of the people that got into the whole pokey poke story in the arm. Didn't do that at all. During the lockdown situation. So what happened was that September last year, I started having this sore throat. So I bought some lozenges. That didn't really seem to fix it, but it lasted 4 or 5 days or 6 days. And then this slowly developed into kind of like flu-y symptoms, in which I was sneezing and coughing, and my nose was constantly running, and I felt sleepy all the time. And so I got a couple of flu remedies from the pharmacist. My friend that I live with here insisted I get something, so we took those. They all didn't work either. But what I started noticing by the middle of September was that I had then begun to start gagging on swallowing my food, and that my voice was starting to falter. You might notice that my voice is a little bit muffled. It's not 100% accurate and back on form yet, but I'm doing very well. But my voice started faltering, and by the end of September, I was down to just a mere whisper. It was insane. I was then panicking at this stage, because I've never used doctors or hospitals, the regular doctors or hospitals. I've always done self-healing. I've always believed that this is the way you go. I thought I have to just go and get this checked out at the local hospital. And I live in a small town here. So I went to the local hospital. They did a checkup on me in the emergency ward, and then sent me off for x-rays. There was nothing that they could find there, and so booked me into the big hospital here in the city that I'm part of, Cape Town, so Tygerberg Hospital. I was then booked in for a checkup, and so what that entailed was going for a camera scan through the nose down into the throat to see what was blocking the throat, because they presumed it was some kind of tumor. And of course, that's all they needed to find, and then told me, yes, you've got this big tumor in your throat that's blocking your throat. This is why you can't swallow. And so then they did a biopsy, which in retrospect, I think I should never have had. But anyway, it was over and done before I could really think about what to be doing in the situation. I was then booked in for a CAT scan 2 weeks later. But almost immediately, half an hour after all of this, while sitting around waiting in public hospitals, what happened was that the oncologist came to me and was busy trying to sign me up already for chemo. And I said to him, no, I'm sorry, my former partner passed away from chemo, and 3 people I know seem to have the same affliction to them as well. So no, thank you. I'm just not interested in that. But this is the only possibility that we can offer you, because an operation is too dangerous. And I said, well, I'm going to have to take my risks on that. So, of course, left the hospital after I'd had the CAT scan and gone for the final prognosis at the end of October. It was, you've got the big C, lymph glands of the throat and the neck area are badly afflicted, and you need to that was the prognosis, lymph node big C. And so of course I was in quite a panic, what to do. And from there went to an alternative health store. In the meantime, a friend from another city, Johannesburg, who's had cancer twice, she told me that she had gone for intravenous drips, vitamin C, not only vitamin C, but vitamin C and DMSO, which is the crucial thing that one needs to request if you are at an alternative clinic. So in my opinion and in her opinion, this was the only thing that was able to knock the big C sideways and get it out of the way. But before I could start that at the local wellness center here, I was only able to get in for 2 weeks of treatment before Christmas. They didn't want to start any intravenous treatments on me before they reopened in the new year, which was around the 10th of January. So I spent quite a lot of money, borrowed money, on getting treatments that were at least going to keep me going, and then I had to do this wait period for nearly 3 weeks over the Christmas time with no treatments and just some supplements. Taking large amounts of selenium and zinc and niacin and multivitamins and cancer shake spreads. And oh yes, the big thing I need to say is that from the beginning of September, once I'd realized that my flu symptoms had started, even before I was gagging, as I was gagging, I realized I had to go to liquids. And so I've been on smoothies and soups, completely liquid food, since the middle of September 2024 until the middle of February 2025. And it's only then when I restarted eating. But the big thing, to just let you know, in my humble opinion, I have used ivermectin, the Ivermax liquid here, which you get from the Farmers Co-op, and also the Big Fen, the Master Detox, because this is nothing other, this affliction, this condition is nothing other than too many parasites in the body, which can come about through mostly too much sugar, which is in all of our processed foods now, And even though I'm a vegetarian and I eat as much organic as I can, it's gotten to be very expensive, and so I also had to stop all dairy products and carbs. So bread, pasta, buns, rolls, rice, cakes, biscuits, everything in that regard I had to stop over the whole of October, November, December, during those 3 months. That was quite a thing because I ended up losing 30 kilograms in body weight, which is why I'm so thin now. Really don't look like I used to look. I was much bigger than this. But yeah, it was a very painful process. I often had cravings for just those things, cheese or some sugar in tea, and eventually in the middle of February, I just started breaking it. I had a brother who came down on holiday with his fiancée, and they had to go out for dinners and lunch at a number of restaurants, and so that triggered me into thinking, if I'm going to get better, I just need to start eating again. And what I then realized was that my jaw, my jawbone had gone completely lame in the 4 or 5 months that I hadn't been using it since the middle of September, because it was, I was just either drinking liquids out of a glass or through a straw. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like when you see these people going for physio when they've been in accidents and they can't use their legs anymore. It was the same with my jaw. I had no movement or ability to open and close my mouth as an active mandible, as an active jaw. There was no clench left in it. And so it was a very painful process of having to relearn how to actually eat again. And slowly, I started making the soups more chunky until I'm at the stage now where I'm literally eating anything I want to. And it was only from about the middle of January, my voice was very hoarse and I couldn't speak to people for much longer than 5 minutes at a time, without my voice starting to go and become very hoarse. And so that was the situation. But we're just about back on track right now at the moment. I haven't been doing any treatments for the last 3-4 weeks. I've only been taking the last remaining pills and supplements that I had at my disposal. And of course, I'm waiting for funds to now come so that I can now continue with treatments, alternative treatments, as I've mentioned. So this is a disclaimer just to say that you still need to go for professional medical advice and listen to what your doctor's got to say, and that the information I'm offering here is only offered in my own humble opinion and is for entertainment purposes only. So thank you for listening if you've got this far in the video, but I think what I said might be able to help you as just an alternative, because there isn't just only one way. There isn't just only one way. There's any number of ways that you can do this. Ozone injections are another one. Right frequency treatments are another. In my humble opinion, they've also helped me tremendously in the pre-Christmas treatment period. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop now. I can hear the vacuum is on outside this room with the maid here today. So thank you very much for listening, and I wish you all the best of luck, and go well.